All right, we sit on the eve of the release of the Nvidia 5090 GPUs. I think the PC gaming in the living room, in the home theater type environment content has resonated or been resonating really strong on the channel. I love PC gaming. I've reaffirmed my plan to stick with PC gaming going forward. And so I'm kind of making this video on request based on some engagement and whatnot that I've had in the comments of related videos and some of the community posts that I put up talking about my plans for the build. And so in this video, I wanted to detail out, I think I have it set now. I think I have it set what will be my complete 5090 oriented living room, home theater, PC gaming rebuild. So figured, hey, let's go through the parts. Let's rationalize a little bit on why I'm picking some things, muse on some of the inefficiencies perhaps of what I'm buying. I'm definitely looking at a very premium PC setup here, but sticking with my intent that the 3090 was the last time that I did a whole PC build. We're talking like CPU, motherboard, and all of those elements. So my plan going forward, of course, is to stick with the 90 cards of every new generation, but probably rebuild the entire computer every other or maybe every third as well. But I think it's a good time, and this is a good place to do this build. So without further ado, I got the PC part picker list here. I can put a link to this in the description as well. And then we'll kind of basically like click through each component and talk about what the plan is. So this is going to be about a $4,500 PC build altogether. Again, I could repurpose some of the parts from my old computer, but I really want to build everything fresh. I want to build everything from the ground up. I think there's a cohesiveness of the new system kind of coming together that makes a lot of sense to just do everything from scratch, as well as being able to just sell the old computer as a complete, functional, built, and working item, rather than taking onesie-twosie pieces out of it and then having to sell an incomplete, like non-working computer. But in any case, so $4,500 is about the target price here. $2,000 of that, of course, is coming from the 5090 card. The founders cards are going to be $1,999 MSRP, and I've got about $2,500 of additional spending here to go along with that. So I have the Newegg pages for each of these items pulled up, and let's kind of go through a bit of the rationale kind of step by step. So going AMD this time. My last several PCs, going back quite a while, have all been Intel-based processors. I think I have an 11900K is what is in the outgoing PC right now. And we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? AMD is winning this generation of CPUs for gaming. The current Intel chips are kind of falling behind what AMD is delivering in terms of performance and performance for the price as well. So yeah, 9800X3D. I think this is like probably, aside from just wanting to get the 5090, this is probably the easiest and simplest gaming component choice to make in the PC space right now, based on the reviews and benchmarks and kind of the result, right, that everybody's getting with the current crop of chips. So hopefully more equitable competition comes out of Intel, or we'll see what Nvidia does in the future as well, potentially in the CPU space or others. But this is an easy buy right now. In fact, I already have this. So I was able to grab a 9800X3D off of Amazon a few weeks back, earlier in January. So it already shipped. It's already here. It's ready to go. I was able to get it actually at MSRP. These can be hard to get. Sometimes they'll come and go in and out of stock, but they tend to restock pretty quick. So if you have some alerts set up, yep, AMD 9800X3D, easy choice. All right, next up, CPU cooler. So this is one that I really debated quite a lot. I was actually contemplating going back to air. I do have a NZXT Kraken 360 AIO in my current gaming computer, and it's been great. It's worked for a number of years, no problems, no issues, great cooling results, performance, and all of that stuff. So that's one of the things, if I really wanted to, I could just keep what I already bought. But again, I just want to sell the computer as a single unit, single functional unit. And there's really nice new features and improvements and stuff that have come along in terms of this component. I really like to be able to get the readout on the actual on-screen part of the cooler. I think that's really cool. I'd like to be able to, especially if I end up with the PC in the living room in view of where I'm sitting to game, I'd love to have like an FPS counter showing on here. I believe that's possible with their options and their settings. So, but I was debating air. I was debating the Noctua coolers and others. The biggest thing that I was getting into kind of the challenge of that was this is going to be an ITX build, spoiler alert from where we go next in the part list, but I wanted to do more of a small form factor, a smaller case ITX motherboard, and fundamentally a big honking air cooler just really didn't fit. It was limiting RAM. It was actually not fitting within the smaller confines of some cases that I was looking at, but more so like within the motherboard itself. So I said, screw it. The case that I'm looking at is going to support a 360 all-in-one, and let's just stick with it. So this is what I was looking at. I was looking at the Thermaltakes. Thermaltake announced some pretty cool looking AIOs at CES just a few weeks ago, but they're not really available yet. And again, so I want something that I can buy now and be ready to build this computer, waiting for new parts that were just released at CES. I don't know when those parts may be available, and banking on the hope that, hey, I can get a 5090 hopefully this week, or hopefully right at launch. I want to have everything else ready to go. I don't want to wait months or weeks for something else to be released. So this is a relatively brand new unit as well, which is cool. I am going to spend a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and get the RGB version. I'm doing this with my son. I know the opinions are split out there about RGB or not RGB and whatnot. I think it looks kind of cool in limited and carefully planned capacity, but my son really likes it, and so I want to do something that keeps him jazzed and like takes his input and makes it like a father-son choice, because we're really speccing this system out together. We're going to be building it together, and so he was drawn to wanting kind of the RGB. I do like the RGB version of this as well to the non, because it makes the fans essentially the RGB fans here are one single block of fans rather than individual fans that all need to be like wired together. So the whole wiring structure, actually, this radiator is pretty nice as well, how they made it into one single type of cabling, and there's no extra USB connector or other parts that are actually on the cooler that goes on the CPU itself. So this is one of my more recent discoveries, kind of like looking back at this while I was looking for other alternatives to the new Thermaltake ones, and I think this is going to be a pretty sweet choice overall. Again, maybe not the most efficient purchased element or component within the system, but I'm going to really like it and really enjoy this selection here. As I mentioned, we'll get to the case in a little bit here, but I am looking for a smaller form factor ITX, and for a AMD 870 platform motherboard choice in ITX. I think there's only really two that I was able to find on the market. There's the ASUS board, and there's a Gigabyte board as well. I believe the Gigabyte board was white, and I just have a preference to ASUS as a brand. The last few PCs that I built, I've used ASUS ROG boards. I've used some ASUS ROG video cards in the past. So kind of just sticking to what I like and sticking to what I know here. ITX and this board is going to give me everything that I basically need out of it, more than enough I/O and connectivity. I don't need more than one slot in this system. It's going to be a single GPU and no need to put any other cards in it. We'll get to the SSD in a minute, but I don't need all kinds of extra SSD slots either. One SSD slot is all that I'm going to need. It has all the right quantity and application of PCI lanes that I'll need. We're talking PCIe 5.0 for the M.2 slot. So everything's current DDR5 memory. You're not going to put more than 2 sticks in it anyway. So I really don't feel that I need like an ATX motherboard. Granted, we pay more for the smaller form factor versus what an ATX form factor board would be, but I'm going to appreciate the build and the footprint essentially of the case, as we'll see in a minute. It has a really strong appeal for how and where I may use and position the computer. So in order to get that, I'm okay spending a little bit more basically to accomplish that. And again, using the all-in-one radiator, don't have to worry about a big honking heat sink trying to fit onto this. Everything should have the proper space, and everything should integrate very nicely together. All right, memory. So G.SKILL, going with G.SKILL memory. I have used G.SKILL memory in a number of PC builds in the past. So we're looking here at a 64 gig. That may be a little bit of overkill. Again, I'm kind of like the theme here is going premium and kind of going overkill. I want this to be a system that's going to last for a while, and spending a little bit more now to have quantities and performance and whatnot, that I don't even want to have to worry about core components other than a video card until we get to the 790. So 64 gig of memory. Just looking at DDR5 6000 here, based on all of my research with these chips and in the current state of the AMD CPU ecosystem, you really don't get any benefit. There's no benefit to spending more, in this case, for higher clock RAM, based on the mechanics of the way that the chip and the chipsets operate. So it's a little bit of a disappointment, actually, in some respects. It'd be cooler if the platform really took advantage of the faster memory in some way. But this is one really clear where spending more to get faster RAM really doesn't seem to be of any benefit. Going with the RGB here, again, didn't have to do it, but again, my son likes it. It's keeping him engaged, and he's kind of digging on it. So I think these sticks look really cool. I think G.SKILL is a great brand. Great timings here, fast memory of the proper spec, and again, 2x32 for a full 64 gig. And because of the speed, I mean, we can't beat the price here. Basically, $200. It's one of the least expensive individual components within the system. All right, SSD. So this is where, again, we could spend a little bit less. We could save some money. We could go for a PCI Gen 4 SSD, but the motherboard is Gen 5. The chipset, the architecture is going to be Gen 5. The Gen 5 drives are a good bit faster than the Gen 4 drives. Does that make a difference in games? Well, based on research and benchmarks and stuff, maybe not so much right now. But again, I'm not building the system just for now. I'm building this probably for 4 years between now and a 7090 rebuild. So who's to say that this speed isn't going to actually prove useful at some point in the future? So definitely going 4 terabyte. I have a 2 terabyte SSD in my current PC, and with the size of games and being able to keep a whole bunch of stuff loaded and available and ready to play and ready to go, with more members of the household wanting to game and use the computer as well. 4 terabyte, easy choice. And this crucial T700 seems to be amongst the kind of the cream of the crop for the Gen 5 drives. Now I did notice there is a T705, but I actually already bought this. I bought this a couple weeks ago, and I paid much less than this. I paid $350 for it. So this can be had for a good bit less than the 426. This one also tends to come in and out of stock quite a bit, but I already have it. It's in hand. I paid less for it. I'm not worried about anything that the 705 might offer over this, especially for a more kind of premium price point, or even more premium price point. And at $350, I'm really only in for maybe another $100 or not even quite $100 to be choosing a Gen 5 drive over a Gen 4 drive. And so again, I know I'm spending a few $100s of this build, maybe about $500 of this build, kind of over-speccing or overbuying a little bit, but I want it to be a multi-year purchase, a two from now GPU generation purchase, and I'm okay. I'm happy to do that. All right, so the case, this is something else that I've debated quite a bit. I've been looking at these Thermaltake tower cases for a while. This is actually kind of now, I think, their second generation of them. There was a tower 200, a 300, and a 500 that I thought were really cool. Now we have the tower 600 and the 250. So the 600 is the bigger ATX case. This is the smaller, of course, as it says, mini ITX case. So I wanted the smaller case. I wanted the smaller footprint. The 600 is a good bit wider. And there's a couple things that I specifically like about this. I like the fishbowl style presentation, whereby the I/O is coming, fundamentally, the wiring essentially is coming out of the back. Wherever I would put this case, whether it's going to stay in the basement, it's going to be up on top of my racks, it's going to be facing forward, and when I'm standing there looking at my racks, I don't want to see all the wires sticking out the left-hand side. It'll be nice and clean to be able to have all the cabling coming straight out of the back. And more preferably, what I'm hoping to do is keep this computer actually in the living room, more accessible to the room that we're using it in. This will be able to stand potentially down in front of the television, or I think more likely it'll kind of be over to the side next to my like television wall bump out. And again, having the cabling come out of the back, having the presentation of the computer fully like visible to the front is exactly what I'm looking for in terms of style and presentation. So this is a 90-degree rotated structure. So you put your motherboard in, all of the I/O goes up and it goes through some channels and then comes out the back. Power supply, of course, hidden down in the well, the footwell, the base of the computer. It means we'll have a vertically mounted GPU on the left-hand side, and then that right-hand side perfectly capable of fitting that big old 360 millimeter radiator. It'll be all nice and clean, be able to hide all of the cabling inside the case. We'll be able to see these awesome parts. We'll be able to see some of that cool RGB. We'll be able to see that big display on the all-in-one's block right on the CPU as well. Again, really hoping to bring the computer up into the room. Everything does work fine and has been working pretty fine with the computer down in the basement with the high gain Bluetooth antenna and the stuff that I've talked about when I've detailed like kind of my PC setup. But there's still no substitute, I think, to having the computer in the room. I probably am suffering from a little bit of extra wireless controller latency by having the computer so far removed and a floor away essentially from where we're playing. So we'll see if bringing the PC in the room tightens up latency a bit. It'll give us the ability to administer things if something needs some intervention, to be able to resync a controller without having to go downstairs, as well as being able to plug in like a wired fight stick and stuff like that. I'd like to get into some more arcade gameplay, classic arcade gameplay, fighting gameplay, stuff like that. And that's one thing that's a little bit of a pain when the computer is removed. You got to use USB extenders and USB over Cat5 and stuff like that. So I think this Thermaltake line is just really awesome. I think from the prior generations now to the 250-600, I think they've addressed some of the sizing and system component support limitations that like the 200 and the 300 had. So this 250 is really a nice sweet spot. Nice small footprint, not overbearing, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. Debated the colors, but I'm just going to stick with the darker color tone. Let the glow, but otherwise kind of keep the general PC black. This thing is available, these tower cases, in a whole host of different colors if you really want to express the individuality of your build and its presentation. But we can get a full ATX size power supply. We can get a full size GPU in there. Again, being able to use the all-in-one in just this perfect package. This is such an efficient, I think, and well-balanced high-end PC gaming thing. I don't need this computer for a whole bunch of I/O. I don't need a whole bunch of other stuff. I need just my core components packaged nice and tightly and efficiently, still being allowed to breathe, all right, and run cool and run clean. And so I think we're hitting a ton of really good balance here, basically, with this choice. And then lastly, we have the power supply. The power supply in my old computer, I've been kind of getting by, even in the 4090 generation, with an 850 watt. And I just want to go big here. I don't even want to have to worry about what's going to be the power consumption needs of a 6090 or a 7090. The spec is to recommend 1,000 watts for a 5090 as it is. If I end up having to get a third-party card, that may even have a little bit more of a power draw demand. You get over 1,500, and now you start needing like 20 amp circuits and things like that to power the computer. So this is like right at the level of what you need for a regular outlet, regular kind of infrastructure power supply. Plenty of power, super efficiency, and ATX 3.1, which is of course what we want to be able to use the 12 volt connectors directly to the new video cards. Least amount of cables possible, clean install, high quality. Again, spending a little bit more here. I probably could find a solid option in the power supply space for a little bit less than this. I was looking at Seasonic. Seasonic actually isn't really that much cheaper. And a lot of the power supply companies don't have their like full ATX 3.1 capable supplies readily available yet. And again, I don't want to wait. This is very strongly rated, a newer model unit. And again, I've been impressed with the NZXT all-in-one that I've owned before, sticking with the brand for the all-in-one here, and then also going with them for the power supply as well. So again, if we run it back, we add it all up here nominally, right, about $2,500, although this is adding a little bit of extra cost in than I actually had to spend, because I spent over $100 less as it is for the CPU. I spent a little bit less for the SSD, as I mentioned. The case will actually be $20. So this is probably more like a $2,300 build plus the GPU versus a $2,500 build. I think within the day, hopefully this evening, I will go ahead and get the rest of this ordered. Probably just going to stick with Newegg, the Kraken, the motherboard, the RAM, the case, and the power supply, all readily available at Newegg with equitable pricing, I think, to what anybody else is charging for the same items. So yeah, I'll get my order going, and then we'll see what happens with the launch, the purchasable launch of the 5090 cards. Will we actually be able to buy them? Are they going to sell out? I already saw the IG posts and pictures, people camping out at the Best Buys and Micro Centers and stuff like that. My intention is, and I'm not camping out for sure, my intention is hopefully to get online the morning of launch and be able to get an order in somewhere, some way, somehow. I am going to try to go ahead and get a founder's card if I can get it. I don't really feel the need to pay more for a larger partner card. If I have to go with a partner card, I will. I've had MSI, EVGA, ASUS cards in the past. They've all been great. So I'm not super partial to what I have to ending up with. But if I can just get the founder's card, that's going to be my goal. So I'll be sitting here refreshing Best Buy, Nvidia directly if I can score from one of those two places. And otherwise, still checking out Newegg and see what transpires, and hopefully not have too much of a problem. Get this thing in, get it built. I am hoping when all the pieces are here to do like a long live stream Saturday, Sunday, basically do the build with my son. I really want my son to build it kind of together, but have him really going hands-on. This will really be his first computer that he could build under my tutelage and guidance and stuff. So I think that'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool to do that. So stay tuned for the content plan and whatever might come out of that. Despite all my connections in the home theater space, I don't have like major collaborative connections in the PC building space. So I'm pretty much buying everything here at retail, just like a lot of you will be. But hey, if any of these PC maker brands would want to get in touch and do some things, do some builds, I would love to do that. So if anybody happens to be watching this from any of these companies, hey, feel free to reach out and let's get in touch. I think the game that we'll be breaking this computer in with will be Spider-Man 2. So I'll be playing that with my son. We'll couch side by side, pass the controller back and forth. Super excited to be ready for that. So sound off in the comments if you have any questions, you have any suggestions. Am I screwing something up here? I know there'll definitely be some comments. There's a couple items in here where I'm not being as efficient as I could be. And again, I'm completely okay spending about another $500 or so into this system to get specifically what I want for the reasons that I've outlaid here. But again, let me know if you think there's still potentially a better option, or critique the build, and let me know, what are you doing for the 5090? Are you building a whole new computer? What's your plan? What are you selecting? What's your parts list look like? Link some PC part picker lists in the comments there, and let's have some fun discussing. Good luck getting your 5090, and I hope I'm able to score mine without any wait. I don't know what I'll do as a contingency. Maybe if we build up this computer and I can't get a hold of a 5090, maybe I will pull the 4090 from the current PC, put it in this build, and then just sell the computer as a GPU-less computer. And then whenever I am able to get a 5090, I'll just sell the 4090 individually. So we'll see what transpires. We'll see what happens. Cross our fingers. Good luck to you. Good luck to me. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you like the content, you'd like to support the channel, Techthusiasm is a dealer for a whole bunch of home theater brands and options, kaleidoscopes and projectors and speakers and infrastructure pieces and all that. Happy to talk, consult, advise, and all of the above. Reach out, Jeremy@techthusiasm.net, or go to www.techthusiasm.net. You can see my brand listing. There's a contact form there. Get in touch. If you'd like to support me otherwise, hey, there's a whole bunch of affiliates down in the description. Regular shopping affiliates, audio advice, Amazon, Best Buy, Newegg is there. If you're buying PC parts for your new computer builds, hey, please, if you would, click through my links. Always very much appreciated. Otherwise, maybe become a channel member, leave a PayPal, Venmo tip, super thanks, any of the above. Always appreciated, much respected. At a minimum, please do that regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video, leave a comment. Let me know your 5000 series generation PC gaming, PC build plans, and stay tuned for more content along these lines. Again, it's been a popular run of videos talking about PC gaming and the way that I'm going about doing it. Definitely going to continue doing that in the future to come. So thanks for watching. Coming back for more home theater, PC gaming in the home theater discussion, and fun.